This is a test live stream. I'm just kind of testing out my new gigs. I have a new setup that I'm gonna be experimenting with, and also I need to get used to talking to no one. Kind of hard to do, not talking to anybody. I'm used to having a classroom full of people who engage with me, and so doing more of a stream where there's maybe no one watching is a little bit harder. But I'm going to do like a test walkthrough of this painting that I wanted to try to do. This is not a Bob Ross painting. This is a different idea I had based on a photograph that I saw of a tree backlit against a sunrise, and um, got it's overlooking a nice, clean, crisp water. So it's almost like a perfect reflection of itself. So that'll be in and of itself a challenge. I am going to be. I have my some of my stuff set up over here. I need to bring it closer because I'm off screen. Still working out a lot of the kinks and whatnot. But I've got my easel set up here. There's quite a lot of glare. I'll have to fix that. And it might just be with the yellow because the yellow is so bright. If I do it more at an angle, it's still pretty shiny. That's because over here I have a light for my other recording that I'm gonna like time lapse. Hang on. All right, so my time lapse is still in there, but if I do this too much of an angle, it makes the time lapse at a dramatic angle. All right, I've already primed this up with liquid clear too, so I want to get started here before it gets before it dries too much. All right, I think we're pretty well spread out here. I primed it up in some acrylic paint with a little yellow with it and a touch of red in there just to kind of give it some different hues. Mostly I did that in case it doesn't come out quite the way I want when I do it. We'll see. All right, I got the idea to do this based on another Bob Ross painting, which is the Evergreen at Sunset. So I was inspired by one of his paintings to do this painting. So I'm going to start off by showing you all the different colors that we've got here. Ooh, you can't see the yellow against the yellow. All right, so I have a little bit of titanium white, the midnight black. Technically, this one's ivory black, but midnight black will do as well. And alizarin crimson, cadmium yellow, and Indian yellow, of course. I also have some liquid black. So I'm going to start off with just a little bit of liquid black on my 1-inch brush, and I'm using the 1-inch brush because this is a smaller canvas. I'm just really going to lightly, especially near my the top of my canvas, I'm going to do just a few little horizontal things up here, and maybe some similar matching ones. Try to make it possible down here. All right, I'm getting that similar coloring. Not perfect, but we want to kind of have some sort of replication. All right. We'll start off with just a little bit of black on there, and then we're going to wipe our brush off really well. I don't like to clean my brush constantly in paint thinner. A couple of reasons for that. It wears the brushes out really fast, especially when you're teaching classes all the time, and it's you can't be having your students like clean your brushes like constantly. I mean, you can, but all that paint thinner is not good for them all the time. Also, when I travel for classes, I don't always like to have to haul the paint thinner. I mean, some people don't mind that, but I don't haul paint thinner with me. I'm not unless I can help it. Okay. I will if I have to, obviously. Oh, it looks like I had some liquid. All right. Apparently, I was going to use this brush instead. Mess that up. That's okay. I'm going to wipe that off. Back over it again. There we go. All right, what we're gonna end up doing here is bringing in, I'm just kind of brushing over it one more time, just make sure it's nice and smooth. I'm gonna pull in some more colors here. Using that same brush, I'm gonna take a little alizarin crimson. I'm gonna go with alizarin crimson first, actually. And I really want to get red up in here, around my. I'm gonna kind of do some crisscross strokes here. I did the horizontal with the black. Go over areas with the alizarin crimson, dusty alizarin crimson here. Almost making like a halo around the upper part. Boy, that looks so red. I need to fix my lighting. My lighting is terrible. Okay. So we're gonna start with this. Just a little bit of this red. Getting lighter as it comes from the center. So when I load my brush, I pull some paint down and I do a little tap on the palette like so. Just to make sure we don't want it to be clumpy on the brush, we want it to be smooth and have the paint kind of pushed into the bristles a little. The same thing that I did on the top, I'm going to do on the bottom. It's almost like a perfect reflection. So I'm a little bit more. Not quite enough. There we go. Oh, see how thick that was right there? Because I did not tap well. A happy little accident. We'll spread that out. We'll spread it out nice. Get back up to here. Come around my edges. Get a little bit of that in the center. All right, so now we've got some red. I kind of have a heavier red here and a heavier red here. So, I mean, it's so heavy. I'm gonna kind of pull it off just a little bit of some paper towel, just to kind of thin it out just a bit, so they match a little bit better. I want my reflection to match better with sky. And I don't want anything too heavy in the red area. All right, that's pretty good. That's better. All right, again, without cleaning my brush this time, I'm not even gonna wipe it. Most of the excess red should have come off already onto the canvas. So now I'm gonna pull in a little bit of Indian yellow. Same idea, I'm gonna load up both sides with my brush. So it's on here. Notice I'm focusing on the flat part up here, not down on the side so much. Because I'm not painting with the side of my brush, I'm painting with that tip, right? All right, so we're gonna come in, maybe more towards center, going a little bit on the outer edges, a little more Indian yellow in there. There we go. Little Indian yellow going around. I'm gonna soften up. This will help soften up any heavier red areas too. A little. So just a little bit more. Starting in the middle. Pulling in some color here. Yeah, that's looking like what I'm for. I want more. So I'm thinking about my picture. I do want more red and black on some areas in this picture. Because I'm going to have more light, I think, over here and over here. So more light on my left side. I'm going to put in a little more red over on this side. Up and down. I might even get in a little more black in there. Let me do this first. See how I like it. Maybe even a little more. More orange in there. Yellowing that around. It's orange. Indian yellow. All right. Now I'm going to take, I might wet my brush just a little bit here for this part. Just a little bit. I don't need to wipe it a whole lot. We're just going to get just a touch less color on there. I'm going to go into the cadmium yellow. Now, a lot of times you start off with this first and then you move into, but I really wanted to make sure. I'm just going to lighten some areas up with this, near where my sun is. I'm giving it a brighter tone over here section. That red yellow, but it's got those undertones of red, Indian yellow, ready. A little more. Doing a little. Smoothing it all out. Okay. Yeah, the lighting in here is not the best as I'm looking at my screen, what's being reflected. This is a much darker not such a red. So, I mean, maybe it's my screen that's showing me. Maybe you guys can see it better than I can. I'm not sure how everybody else, but you might also note I'm using used canvas here. I had some, what was on here before? But it still has some textures on it and stuff from a previous paint. Okay. So here's the interesting part that I want to do. Well, no, first I'm going to do, and I have way too much white on my palette, and I'll probably need it after this. So I'm going to take the titanium white. You can see I'm twirling my finger in there. Use whatever finger you want, whatever is easier for you. And then you have to decide about where your prime sunlight is. I feel like I should have made it more here, but kind of here. So it's kind of in the center of this yellow color here. Right here. I pick up that yellow. Good. I want it to pick up the yellow, and I don't want it to get too big. Okay. And then another one. Band of land is going to be right around here. Here. All right. Pretty close. I think this sun is bigger. A wee bit bigger. Okay. All right. What's also great about this is that it's not a perfect sun shape. I want it to have like a little bit of buzzed edges. This helps that. So the idea here is that this is someplace hot. That feel a hazy sun. Hot, rising, setting. Okay, yeah, I'm liking it so far. I have not painted this one yet before, so I'm walking you through a brand new painting that I've just came up with, sort of inspired by another painting, or photograph, sorry, not a painting, but a photograph. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and put in our land base here. And I'm just gonna use that midnight black. I might add, I think I'm gonna add a little bit of alizarin crimson. I want it to kind of have a little bit of a red tone. So I'm just mixing right on my palette because I'm done using the red for anything else. So, and I'm just loading up one side. You can kind of see that this side, there's nothing here, but this side, I've got it all loaded up. So we are using more of the flat part of this versus just up here for our land. Do a little push up like this, make sure it gets in. I'm pulling down and pushing up a little bit like so. Down, push up. All right, I'm gonna just kind of lay down some land. I really just want to make sure that I'm getting nice land base. I'm not doing anything fancy just yet with it. I'm gonna go across, sort of center. Now with this, now I'm gonna load it up because I want a few little bushy things going on here. And now I've switched to just my corner. So I'm holding it like so. And I'm gonna pull down and it kind of smushes up the bottom of my brush. And I'm gonna turn it over. I'm just gonna kind of push in a bit of like a bush type band here. Now I need to reflect it down below. Whatever I do up here, I need to have it reflected down below. So when I put it up here, I'm going to do the same thing with just a little bit thicker with the bottom. All right. So like a bit of bushes up, but not too much here. Almost like wild grassy areas. Load up some more. It's just going to be a little bit smaller. We have a few random ones there. Section. It have to be like a perfect replica. It definitely helps, and I'm actually having it be just a little bit lighter underneath where the water reflection is. I think I made this too skinny. That's okay. I made it up a little bit higher than that, but I think that's okay. Not a perfect leveling, but I might, maybe I'll put a little, do a bob thing and put a little bit of land here in the front. I'm just gonna push everything back a little bit. I don't know if I'm gonna want to because what I'm doing next. So I've got two brushes going here. Yeah. All right. So I don't really want to blur this too much because the water is very still. I just want it, I might want to take, I know, a little white, a little black together. A little bit of white and a lot of black. I kind of don't want it to be too light. Just want something to give a very subtle indication of land division here. But I'm just going to kind of come in some areas. Indicate land division with this gray color. You can kind of see it, maybe you want. Just subtly in there, very subtle, very, very subtle. But I want it to be. I want that divide of water and land to be very subtly different. All right. So I'm going to go back to my 1-inch brush, similar load with the black and the red that we did for the land, pulling down. Well, maybe a little more red this time. Keep it reddish black. Loading it, pulling it down on the one side, wide side, and pushing it up into. Now, what shape my tree? Nice big tree. A little more black in there. I actually kind of like it where there's a touch of red in some areas, all black. I like the red and the black. Right, it's getting a little bit sparser. Notice it does get whiter as it comes out here. Okay. So here's the tricky part. I need to do that down here. So, I mean, obviously the easiest way is to flip your canvas over, which totally can do. I'm wondering if I can do it without doing it. Should I just flip it over? It's probably gonna be so much easier if I flip it over. You got a little too high there. And I am way too high because this is whiter than this. So I need to have this off. All right. More color here. All right. Yeah, probably should have flipped it. It's so hard. All right, I guess I'm not such an amazing artist that I can do this upside down. Goodness gracious. All right, pretty close. It's not perfect. But that's why I'm calling this my test painting. Okay, so we've got our tree in, we've got our land in. This is a nice, simple painting. This is what I really like about it. It's very simple. We could probably get this done in like less than an hour. Not including, of course, drying time for the acrylic paint on the canvas to make it sort of yellow toned. All right, so next up is our tree trunk and limbs. And I'm going to just use straight up liquid black for this, and a script liner for the most part. Got my script liner. And some liquid black. 'Cause, 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 wonder maybe I should put it into a palette and make it here. Oh, that does mixed up a little bit more. Why? Ooh, I'm dripping everywhere. Usually you have to stir the stuff up really well. It's always hard to do. I try to shake it, but that's never enough, especially when it's new. And if I'm not using it like regularly, like my liquid white, I use like multiple times a week. But the liquid black, see, you can kind of see it's a little bit clumpy on there. And that's what's down at the bottom. That's from the stuff that's at the bottom. I did not shake it well enough or stir it well enough. All right, but we got it. We've got it going on here. Pretty well stirred. Off. All right, now I've scooped some of it up and put it into my little palette here. Make it easier for me. Okay. This is kind of the fun part. You can make your tree trunk as cool and knobby and like wild looking as you want. You just need to think about like you put in a nice big tree and we're in my picture. We might want to add a little. So this is why I wanted to add all right, so this is where it's a little across that white. All right, before I get too carried away with the trunk, repeat what I just did here, down here. That's gonna be cute. To repeat that reflection. All right. Oh, why did I think I could? Mm. This is where we can get more. I'm trying to repeat the same steps. So this is the kind of thing that would be like we could keep it a lot simpler. I hadn't done intricate little branches. I do feel like, yeah, my branches are a little off here, but here, that pretty close. I need to do more skinny ones. Which is the reflection. All right. I could keep going with those tree branches stuff. Like there's so many. You could just keep going with these. If you think about trees, how many tiny. The important thing here is when you're doing these branches, doing just these fine lines, that's sort of key to making a deciduous tree. And the special thing here to keep in mind is how chiseled and pointy your script liner is. You want to keep it sharp. And whatever fluid you're using, whether it's a liquid black or a thinned out brown, you want to make sure it's an ink-like consistency. So if you take Van Dyke Brown or dark sienna and you take some liquid clear or paint thinner or mineral spirits of some sort, and you run it in there and you roll it. Don't smash it, roll it nicely along there like so, just rolling it like this. So that way it keeps it pointy. And then when you roll this around in here, so I'm pulling it, first I start off straight with the pull, and then I twist it as I come up the to help give it that um, make it knobby and curved more. And it helps bring it to a point at the end. All right, so I want to have a few more of these branches. Let's cross. Repeat. That's a line. All right, not bad. I'm going to stop here with the branches. It's pretty good. What I want to do next, though, take just a little more of my black. Mostly black. Just gonna kind of touch, almost like the opposite of highlights, right? Because the sun is behind it. Can't always see. I'm gonna add a few more areas where leaves up, covering up some of the branches here. There. You see a couple of branches I put down here, but it's way more like lines. That's a little better. A few more. All right, and there we have the practice tree. I'm gonna assign it. There. And there you have it, folks. My little my Savannah sunset. Thanks for joining me. And I am gonna. Oh. We will see you next time. Hopefully, I'll have some of my lighting, whatnot, tweaked. It'll be better. Uh, see you later. Happy painting.